What's up, guys? We are continuing our way through the X-Men Apocalypse wave today with a look at a more cosmic piece, Gladiator. So this guy is a figure that I've been looking forward to just because I don't have him. I know a lot of folks have him because he came out in a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive set where he has a different paint deco. He's metallic, I believe, in some fashion. So we've got him in our standard box, nothing new here. We've got our current style X-Men logo with Gladiator and his Apocalypse head in the window there, and then the back has got product shots as well as a lineup of the full wave and our Build-A-Figure. So let's do it. Let's check him out.
Alright guys, so here is Gladiator out of the package, and this one's probably going to be a pretty quick review because there's not a great deal to talk about here. What you see is what you get. He is a singular figure with no accessories except the Build-A-Figure piece, and he's on a body that we are very much accustomed to at this point. So we're obviously going to start with articulation, and then we'll run through some of the finer details of this paint and sculpt situation. So for articulation, this guy's basically going to be exactly what you think he is. He is standard boilerplate Marvel Legends kind of figure, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. This figure is not new. You know, he's been repainted just for this wave. He came out in a box set previously. So this body is the Hyperion body, which is pretty old and tired at this point. I kind of wish they'd get off of it, but it works for Gladiator here. So head can swivel. You got tons of bob action. Look at that. You can bobble back and forth all day long. Lift up, down. So you can get him into a nice flight pose with his head looking forward. Of course, he's a pretty beefy guy, so you need a good stand for that. We've got arms that can go out. You can rotate all the way around, bicep swivel. You've got double jointed elbows, so you get a little better than 90. We have got hinged and rotating wrists, and these are both horizontal side-to-side style hinges. You go forward, you go backward, but the cape is obviously going to kind of get in the way a little bit. It's just going to hinder that movement, but it's still there. Waist twist, we've got thigh cuts, legs can go out, they go forward, they go back just a little bit, not tons. We've got double jointed knees, which go pretty far. We've got the boot cut slash shin swivel, whatever you want to call it. We've got forward-facing pin for rocker, and then we, of course, have hinge. So he is, for the most part, like I said, a standard Marvel Legends. You know, we've seen this body before. We know what it's capable of. He doesn't really have anything getting in the way of his articulation except for the cape, and that's pretty minimal at that. So he does move around fairly well. Now, in terms of the overall look and feel of this figure, I am, for the most part, pretty happy. That said, he does, of course, use this old Hyperion body, and while I wish Hasbro would start to shy away from it from time to time, I think it happens to work really well for Gladiator, so I'm not really going to knock him too much on that. I think it's just in time it has been overused a bit, but for the most part, I think his size and his dimensions and his overall look works well because this is a really beefy body and he is a humongous dude, but he's not too humongous, if that makes sense. He's overly muscled, but he's not gigantic at the same time. My main gripes are going to be kind of paint related because line work on the legs are not that great. I've got some nicks here and there. The gold that's on these clasps somehow ended up on the back of my cape as well. And then the big paint thing for me is this triangle is really thin. I can see the red through the yellow lines there, which is definitely an eyesore. It's kind of what draws my attention to this figure, which is rather unfortunate. For me, though, the big concern was going to be whether or not the head sculpt looked good, and honestly, I think this is pretty solid. I am very, very happy with how this head turned out. I think it very much looks like a comic Gladiator. I really dig the blue paint in the black hair up there. Makes it look like it jumped right out of the comic books, so I'm really, really happy with that. I'm overall very satisfied with the use of the body in the head. It just has a few QC-ish type issues that are really what's holding it back from being a little better for me. Beyond that, my other real gripe is going to come down to this cape. I think it sits kind of funny on him. It almost wants to hover over top of him, and you can see that the clasps don't actually sit on him very well. I'm going to try to heat this up because it is a flimsy kind of rubbery plastic to see what I can do to more mold it to his body, but it doesn't sit really well on him, and I think part of that comes from the fact that the peg that sits in the back is really gummy. It's not a stiff peg, so it really takes some work to get in there. That said, I do like the flow of the cape. I like how it wraps around him. I like how it juts out from the side here. I think it looks good on him. I just think it doesn't sit too well on him, and I think I'm going to try to finagle it to make it sit on him. Beyond that, this guy doesn't really have anything else to offer outside of the Build-A-Figure piece because he does not come with an accessory. So overall, I am about as happy with this figure as I expected to be. I do, of course, have a few gripes that I mentioned, but overall, I really did actually want to get this figure. I know this isn't on the most wanted list for most people, but I dig the X-Men Cosmic Universe. I really like Gladiator as a character for some reason. I've always kind of enjoyed some of his stories, so I was definitely interested to get a hold of him. He's not perfect. He is very much on the basic side of the wave. He's obviously part of some cost-cutting measures for sure, and he's definitely kind of the odd man out when you think about the overall assortment we've got going on. But I'm happy to have him. He's not without his faults, but he's still a pretty cool figure, and I dig the character. So that's going to do it for this look at the Marvel Legends Gladiator figure from Hasbro. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.